unlimited power. You know where that one comes from?
No. Yes, I do. Star Wars.
Yay! And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben.
And I'm Kay.
Today we are reviewing a Netflix original movie, Project Power.
On the streets of New Orleans, word begins to spread about a mysterious new pill that unlocks superpowers unique to each user. The catch? You don't know what will happen until you take it. While some develop bulletproof skin, invisibility and super strength, others exhibit a deadlier reaction. A local cop teams with a teenage dealer and a former soldier fueled by a secret vendetta.
So this film is directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman, and it's a duo that have worked together quite a bit. They've done some horror. I really enjoyed Nerve, which they directed. I like their directing style, and has a really great cast. Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Dominique Fishback. So I think she's fantastic in this. Dominique Fishback plays Robin, and I really enjoyed her in this. She is up against some well-known faces, Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They are obviously very well-known now. We respect them as actors. So to hold your own against these two formidable actors, I thought she was excellent in.
So for me, I enjoyed this film, but it didn't blow me away. I mean, it had some really interesting premises. I think it's quite interesting to take the idea of superpowers and put it in a pill that you can take. Like a drug, but I felt like the whole superpowers thing, you know, it's something we're very familiar with. This is just sort of a twist on it. So although I thought the film was good and I enjoyed it, it didn't knock my socks off.
Okay.
There were some lovely moments though. There's a particular scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in a towel, and I loved that scene, and it's very funny. Not because he's in a towel, of course, but because of the scene.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a towel.
No, you'll see. It's very funny.
It's a good scene.
It's a really good scene. And there were loads of moments where this film had so much heart and so much intrigue, and it was really like, it gripped you. I don't know, maybe the problem was that we watched it in 2 sittings.
I think the reason we watched it in 2 sittings is it was pretty long. It's pretty long for an action adventure movie. It's just under 2 hours. But I actually really like the premise. So the idea that you have powers in a pill, but the fact that there's consequences to these pills, I think that's something that we sometimes don't see in superhero films, because essentially this is a superhero film, but it's very much grounded. So the stuff that you take, it has consequences. You don't just get to be a superhero. There, you know, it's going to wreck your body. You know, there's all sorts of things that this plays to, that the tropes it kind of just throws away and says, no, we're going to see what happens if there's actually realism behind a superpower, if we can have superpowers, which I thought was really good. And then what else this film had going for it was the relationships, that there's a surrogate father-daughter relationship. There's obviously Jamie Foxx, the main theme of him is trying to rescue his daughter. The themes this film tackles are that of daughter and father relationships, whether they're actually daughter and father. Doesn't matter. It does tackle that, and it shows your family is not always the best choice for you, or your family is who you decide it's going to be, and who you decide that you're going to allow to be in your life. And it kind of tackles those very interestingly, because for all intents and purposes, when we see Jamie Foxx's character, he's not the good guy really. He's a very broken character, which I liked. And then you kind of have this cop who also seems to be not exactly cop-like. Obviously, along the way, our guys are gonna meet, because there's a bigger baddie that's controlling these substances. There's always a bigger baddie.
Always.
And I really like the action sequences. I like how they showed them. It does feel a bit dragged out though. So where you have the moments where the action stops, the pacing really slows, because they're trying to develop your characters, which I think is a good thing. There's different sequences, like you were talking about, between Jamie Foxx and this young girl who's along for the ride, without doing spoilers, and their relationship moments are also very good, but it does feel like it jars it. We've just come out of a massive action sequence, and then there's backstory, and then there's flashbacks, and then there's hold up a minute, side quests. And that's fine, you get it in every film. You couldn't just have action, because it doesn't work.
No.
But because the pacing is so jarred, it just feels like they stop, and then they start again. It also feels like this film is multiple films. So for me, it's also an 8 Mile wannabe film. It's also an action superhero film. It's also a relationship, a strained relationships builder, and you want those two, you want them, you're rooting for them. And at no point wasn't I rooting for them, but I was thinking to myself when I was watching this film, if one of them died now, I don't think I would be upset.
I think there was only one character really that I would be upset about.
Yeah, and so that just shows that it's a good film. It's grounded in its superhero-ness. It's a new take on it, a spin on that, but it's not like we haven't seen films similar to this or series. The Boys spins that genre on Amazon quite well. And that's not to say that you need to rewrite the book when it comes to... No. It's not to say this film's rubbish either. It's thoroughly enjoyable. It's an enjoyable film, and I actually wouldn't have minded seeing this on the big screen because I think when the action sequences are there, they're very spectacular. The way they do the realism, the prosthetics, and the violence, and it is violent.
It is violent.
I think the meld of that is very good because sometimes you will see things that are not quite good in big budget films, and I'm not going to put anything to shame, but even in the big budget superhero films, you will see CGI or things you'll be like, I didn't see any of that. So I kind of had a little clap for that. I was like, wow, that all looks very good. And because it's so grounded, so like when you take this pill, if it gives you that superpower, what's it going to do to you? And you see the repercussions of that, I guess. What superpower would you want if you could choose any? What would you have?
Ooh. Always teleportation. Always. I have family all over the world. Seriously, if I could teleport, I'd go and have tea with my mum right now in New Zealand. It's too hard to think.
It is very hard. I thought the score was very good. It's very epic movie-like.
Wow.
And it's also understated, so you don't really notice it being there, but when it needs to be there, I felt the music swelled in the action sequence moments, and they were like, here we go, this is an action sequence. It ticks all the boxes, I think.
You're so funny, because you hear the soundtrack and all of that side of things, and I am all about the colour palette. So the colour palette is fantastic. It's got a lot of what I would associate with New Orleans, actually. It's got a lot of oranges and blues. And I think that's maybe done on purpose.
I think it's one of the first things I mentioned when we switched it on. I was like, ooh, crispy! Because it looked super 4K. Like everything was clarity.
Yeah. I mean, the lighting was beautiful. In every scene, the lighting was beautiful. Like, it was clear that whoever was the cinematographer did a really good job.
I really liked the relationships. Like, I thought they were believable, even though a lot of them are strange when you see them together. I just like the interactions. I think that's really down to the young actress, I was going to say, because whoever she's with, whether it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt or Jamie Foxx, whoever she's with, it's always entertaining. Yeah. And I feel like when it goes to other people that it's not them, the film kind of lags a little bit. But they sometimes have to do that because it's like, hey, here are the bad guys. Hey, here's a bit of side story that we need to pad out the film a bit with.
Yeah.
But when it's them, the film shines.
From a personal point of view, I'm going to give this a B+ because of my personal enjoyment of it. And from a technical standpoint, as in this is a movie and I'm going to judge it just purely on the technical merit of the movie, it at least gets an A-.
I think because when we're going back over the film, because we want to remember, just in case we'd forgotten anything, and I wanted to watch it again, that is always a really good sign to me that, oh, this film is good, actually. Not that I wasn't expecting it to be, but I just thought, because I'd watched it in 2 parts, whether I felt that it was padded too much or there was something missing from it. And there might be. And the story is something that we've seen before, but I actually really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it an A. Who's your favourite character in this? Which moment or superpower, when you've seen the film, did you enjoy the most? Try not to spoil anything for anybody, especially kind of that ending moment. Definitely don't spoil that for people because that's the culmination of the film, and I hate it when people spoil stuff for me. Yeah.
And let us know what powers you would want.
Yes, invisibility.
Okay.